so exhausted when we got to the hotel in Sydney, Australia. Yes, I was so exhausted during our move, but I didn't get any sleep in the airplane. On purpose, I tried to stay awake. I didn't want to sleep, so I would be sleepy and tired enough to be able to sleep at the hotel. Here is the first part of our relocation from KL, Malaysia, to Tea Gardens, Australia. I probably got 2.5 hours sleep the night before we started our relocation. Somehow I still managed to do Duolingo in the hotel in Sydney. Then I would say I fell asleep around 10:45 p.m, 22:45. I remember I was so cold. I kept my socks on and even put on my sweatshirt jacket. I think I kept all my clothes on. I didn't change into sleeping wear. I probably got woken up at 11:45 p.m. by a kid next door that was loud. Yeah, that really sucks. But honestly, I have to admit, even if the kid wouldn't have woken me up, I would have woken up sooner or later anyways, unfortunately. Because I had one of my attacks. This time I was shaking because I was so freezing, so nauseous, I felt like puking. And it could work, this nausea, I know that it gets worse by every single little movement I make or the bed makes or so. And well, of course, an anxiety attack came with that as well. And unfortunately, this attack was a really bad one. Why? I was doing really well during our move in the airplane. I was doing well. I didn't eat anything anymore after being in the airplane on purpose so I wouldn't get nauseous. So why? Why did I suddenly get so nauseous? We still don't know why I get those attacks and other attacks. We still don't know why, and they occur so randomly. Paul always keeps blaming the hormones. Well, after 2 pituitary gland tumor surgeries, removals, I still have a pituitary gland left, but maybe, I don't know, a third of it, a quarter of it, less than half. And well, I am taking medication, hormones, but my hormones are still fucked up. Anyways, I went to the bathroom at 11:50 p.m. and I stayed in there until 1 o'clock, 1 a.m. It was bad until about 40 minutes after midnight, but I kept sitting there to try to recover and to calm down. During the bad time, I also had some diarrhea like usual, but not that much. Usually after I have diarrhea, those symptoms get much better and it's not as bad anymore. But that time, it was still very, very bad for 40 minutes after I have the diarrhea. Maybe you're thinking right now, it couldn't have been that bad. She was able to film it. Yes, of course. If it would have been crazy, fucking bad, I couldn't have filmed it. Yes. But even though it was a pretty bad attack, I was able to film it because I tried to distract myself. But actually, I just had to turn on my phone and push a button. So it's not that much work to do. So I was still able to do that. And while it was filming, I didn't have to do anything anymore. I usually do online jigsaw puzzling when I have those attacks or others. And that time I couldn't do that. I couldn't concentrate. I couldn't distract myself by that. So that's how I know it was a pretty bad attack. If I can't even do jigsaw puzzling, then it's bad. Anyways, at 1 a.m. I managed to get out of the bathroom, but I was shivering. I was still so fucking cold. It was really so cold. I put on my down jacket and thin, but at least long pants, and I wrapped my feet with a wrapping we cut off from the twins from the 2 white suitcases that we got wrapped before checking them into the flight. So Fat Boy was also wrapped, but we didn't unwrap it yet, and it was really hard to undo it. I didn't have scissors handy or something, so I just looked for anything. I also took the still clean hotel towel and my thin shawl back to bed. I put my head under the shawl because Paul told me that in Reno, Nevada, the United States a while ago, that when you put your head underneath something, that's how you get warm. That's a good thing to become warm. So I had those attacks before when I'm just fucking shivering cold, and I know nothing helps but a hot water bottle. I I have a hot water bottle, well, that's empty, that I bring along on my travels. Yes, I'm that smart, but I buried it into Fat Boy, so it was somewhere there. I was like, in my condition, basically impossible to get out. So since then, my water bottle always travels with me in the backpack. Yes, I learned my lesson. And also, Paul was sleeping. Yes, I did text him when it started with bad attacks when I woke up, but he didn't wake up. And yes, of course, if it would have gotten super crazy bad, I would have woken him up. I woke him up so many times, but in the past, but I kind of got used to it to deal with it myself. I'm actually really proud of that. And also, a problem is when it's really bad, I can't talk, so how can I wake him up? And I can't really move much, and yeah. But then I was so fucking cold, I was like, fuck it. I took my socks off and just put my ice cold, really like ice cubes, feet onto Paul's bare legs to warm them up. But Paul was laying in such a stupid position for me, like his legs were in an angle. I couldn't really get the sole of my feet on his legs. And Paul didn't even wake up. And yes, of course, I unwrapped my feet from the wrapping before I did that. And I actually wrapped the wrapping, the plastic wrap from the twins, not around my feet anymore, but around my ankle. So I still use that. I used everything I could find and could think of. Oh yeah, and while I tried to put my ice block feet onto Paul's leg, I had to put myself in such weird angles that I started to get cramps in my feet and in my calves. So I had to get up, or at least sit up multiple times to make the cramp stop. This night was horror, was a nightmare. Needless to say, it took me a very long time to finally fall back asleep. Also, for some weird reason, I couldn't lay on my right side. It made me so fucking nauseous. I don't know why. Yeah, I was crazy exhausted, but even when I was finally kinda settled in bed, I couldn't just fall asleep. I had to calm myself down first. And yeah, that took a while. Oh, and Paul's phone kept buzzing, what also prevented me from falling asleep. It was so fucking annoying. Eventually, I did fall asleep, no idea when, I would say around 4:45 a.m. or 4:50. Yes, I woke up with a second attack, the same night before. But luckily, it was a smaller one and it lasted only until 5:16 in the morning. And no diarrhea, no poop this time. So I was surprised that I recovered faster this time without even having to poop. Needless to say that I was super fucking exhausted when Paul woke me up at 7:20 a.m. and I was still a bit nauseous, unfortunately. We packed up all our stuff together, went downstairs and got into a taxi. It was about a 30-minute ride to the train station. To me, it seemed much longer. I wasn't doing well. Well, better, much better than the night before, but I was crazy exhausted and still nauseous. But I didn't feel like puking anymore, so that was a good thing. Oh, and I was still freezing, actually. And I kept all my layers on from the night before, well, except for the plastic wrap stuff and the towel from the hotel. But otherwise, I kept all my layers on and even added some more in the morning before we left. It was hard to walk to the train platform. I was so slow. We boarded the train. I think Paul even got first-class tickets. The seats reclined quite far down, so oh, that was nice. The train left around 9:35 a.m. I was still nauseous, but I was able to do Duolingo. It was hard. I was hoping it would distract me, but not really. I was just too exhausted. I was also able to film a little bit from the outside. I fell asleep, but not for long. Paul woke me up because we arrived around 11:50 a.m. So the train took 2 hours and 15 minutes to go from Sydney to Broadmeadows, Newcastle. But that little nap I got in the train actually did help. I wasn't nauseous anymore and I felt so much better. Oh, I was so happy I could greet our host Greg while feeling pretty well. He picked us up with his car from the train station and he drove us around Newcastle at first and showed us many things. And he also explained us a lot of stuff. Then he started heading to tea gardens and I unfortunately felt a bit nauseous again and so tired. I don't remember, but I guess we were in the car for about 2 hours because he was showing us around, and I guess we arrived at the house around 1400 2 p.m. We met his wife Robin and the 2 Dachshunde, and they showed us around in the house and the yard and they explained us stuff. I haven't eaten anything yet on that day on purpose because a lot of times after I eat I get nauseous, so I didn't want to take any chances. But so I was really hungry. So Paul and I walked to Coles, bought some food for me, and I made good old plain ground beef with salt, and I ate around 14:50, 2:50 p.m. I finally ate something. It tasted so good. One of their daughters, Jody, and her husband Steve came home around 3 p.m. 1500. They would all fly to California, USA the next day. We started talking. Yes, unfortunately, I did get slightly nauseous after eating 201 grams of ground beef, so I didn't eat much at all. So unfortunately, it made me a little bit nauseous, but I was fine. I was okay. The man drove around in the car, so Paul got to see a lot more of the area. I kept talking to Robin, then I started to unpack a few things, laid on the bed in the room, and wanted to do some stuff on the phone, but I was so fucking exhausted and fell asleep, maybe for 2 hours, so I really needed that. Then we all sat together and ate dinner together. I love talking to them. They are so interesting. It was really so pleasant. It was so nice. They are so nice and likable people. The next day, they packed up the rest of their things, and around 11:30 a.m., they left. We made it. We were in Tea Gardens, and for 3 months, we were living there. And I was just thinking, please, God, please let me be good enough, healthy enough, so I can enjoy it. So I can do a lot of bodyboarding and exploring and going on nice walks with the dogs, and not just spending time in hospitals, hours on the toilet, in bed, in the bathroom. Please, stay happy, stay healthy, stay positive.